Welcome everyone to this CELPIP Reading Part 3 Information Analysis. Now I'm just here in the Reading Part 3 of the CELPIP Library. And before we get started, I do want to remind you that Reading Part 3 focuses more on CLB 7+. Now, what does that mean? Well, it means that if you need to get CLB 7 or higher, then you need to do well in Part 3, okay? That's because Part 3 and Part 4, these two parts, they are for higher levels. That means the complexity of the text is more difficult and the questions can be more difficult. There's more time pressure, and students that have higher knowledge, they will do better in this part. Now, if you need CLB 4, 5, or 6, it means that this part could be more difficult for you, okay? But at the same time, you don't need to get so many points in this part or Part 4, because for lower levels, you need to get most of your points in Part 1 or 2, okay? Because those parts will be easier. All right, so again, more focus for higher levels in Part 3. And also, I want to remind you about this Reading Part 3, Reading for Information Tips and Strategies video. Now, this video will give you some more ideas of what you can do to manage time, to read effectively, and what you should focus on more in Reading Part 3. Some of the tips and strategies that I will be using in this part. So if you want to watch that video, I'm going to be leaving a link in the description box to that video. Okay, great. Now, let's get started with today's analysis. Maple trees. Wow, great. So here we are in the lesson sample page, and you'll notice it says there are 5 sections. We have the video analysis we're watching, and we have vocabulary. Okay, vocabulary building is very important for Part 3s and 4s, okay? And as you will see, not all vocabulary is important, but in general, there are some words that will be important, or some words that we can use in more text than just this one. Those are the parts that, or the words that we should focus on. And you see here, this vocabulary practice chooses some words from the reading, gives you some explanations about them, and then the best part, which is there are some sentences that you need to complete using one word from the ones you learned. Very great exercise, and I recommend that one. Okay, and then we have comprehension building. Comprehension building, it's very important for Part 3 to understand similar ideas. So that's why these exercises for comprehension building, they provide you 2 ideas, and then you need to decide if those ideas are similar, not similar, or different. Very great practice for you to build your comprehension. Strongly recommend that as well. And then we're going to have the test practice number 1, which we are going to do now, and test practice number 2, which you can do after to practice yourself. Great! So now everyone, let's get started with today's analysis. So everyone, I want to remind you that we are going to be doing this analysis together, which means I'm going to be reading the paragraph, okay? Then I'm going to be reading the questions, and I'm going to be giving you a chance to select whether that information is in the paragraph or not. That's a very good way for us to do this analysis together. And also, before we get started, I do want to remind you that we have 10 minutes for this part. We're not going to be following the time here now, but in the real exam, you will have 10 minutes. So for that, I'm just going to give you a quick tip that I think it's very important and one that I'm going to be following. And that is, I'm going to be reading or skimming and scanning paragraph 1. And then I'm going to be checking all the questions to see if they are in paragraph A. Then I'm going to read B and check the questions. Then I'm going to look at C, check the questions, and then D and check the questions. Okay? That is the best way to do part 3. Okay, and also I'm going to be giving you some vocabulary ideas while we read, and that will help us learn together. Okay? So let's get started. I'm just going to zoom in here so we can read better. This will be enough. All right, so here we go. Most maples are trees growing to 10 to 45 meters, 33 to 148 feet in height. Others are shrubs less than 10 meters tall with a number of small trunks originating at ground level. So also everyone, while we read, we need to be able to just keep in mind some ideas while we read, not just ignore. So it's talking about the height, okay? Most species or kinds of trees are deciduous. That's a type of tree. But a few in Southern Asia and the Mediterranean region are evergreen. So species of trees. Most are shade tolerant, so they don't need shade. When young and are often riparian, understory or pioneer species rather than climax overstory trees with a few exceptions such as sugar maple. So these words here I can tell are about types or of trees or something very topic specific to maples. Those words I don't think are important. That's something we need to keep in mind. Sometimes when we have these kinds of topics like trees, some words are only specific to this topic, which are not so important, okay? Rather than is a good word. Rather than, instead of, okay? Again, another type of tree here. Exceptions, not including, okay? Many of the root systems, okay, root systems are typically dense and fibrous, inhibiting the growth of other vegetation underneath them. Inhibiting, stopping, preventing, okay? So it says that the roots can cause problems for other trees or plants growing. A few species, notably Acer capitosium, frequently produce root sprouts, which can develop into clonal colonies. Okay, so talked a lot about the species of trees, okay, and some more characteristics of them. So let's look. One key part that differentiates the trees, differentiates, makes different. One key part that makes the trees different. Is it an A? I didn't see that about differentiating there. No. Talk more about species. Unique structure which enables distant travel. Is it an A? No, right? I didn't see anything about distant travel. That's key for this sentence. Time of the year when maples bloom. No, right? Bloom. Important word to keep here. Bloom or grow, when flowers bloom. Well, I'm guessing it would be spring, and I didn't see anything about time of year in there. Regions where maple trees are prevalent. Is it an A? Maybe. Regions where maple trees are prevalent. Prevalent means common. It says here most species are deciduous, but a few in Southern Asia and the Mediterranean are evergreen. Maybe, maybe. It doesn't say really common there. Okay. The most peculiar type of maple tree. The most interesting type of maple tree. Is it an A? No, I didn't see anything about a peculiar type. 6. Period at which the maple tree is able to spread its species. So, is that one in A? Spread, where it can spread its species. Period at which, no, right? No. I also didn't see there something about spreading itself. No, I didn't. 7. The average lifespan of a maple tree. Lifespan, is it an A? No. How long it can grow? I didn't see that there either. Okay. 8. Distinguishing maple trees according to gender. Is that one an A? Gender, male, female. I didn't see that there either. So no. And what about a 9? The disparity of size in accordance to maple tree types. Not size, okay. Disparity of size. Well, I would say this is an A. Disparity means difference in size in accordance to types. And we read here that the height here, most maple trees are this high. It says others, which are shrubs, are less than 10 meters. Okay, so I'm going to say that one is A. And also, I'm going to say, because, well, not yet. I am going to put, for now, I am going to put 4 as A as well. The reason is because it's talking about regions. Now, it doesn't really say that it's common there. I can change it after, but it doesn't say common, but it is talking about regions where they grow. So, could be there, okay? All right, so we read the questions well. We understood the questions. Now let's get to B. Maples are distinguished by opposite leaf arrangement. The leaves in most species are palmate, veined, and lobed, with 3 to 9, rarely to 13. Veins, each leading to a lobe. Okay, one which is central or apical. Now, I do see here it says maples are distinguished by opposite leaf arrangement. Okay. A small number of species differ in having palmate compound, pinnate veined, or unlobed leaves. So it's talking about the leaf differences. Okay. Several species, including paper bark maple, Manchurian maple, nickel maple, and 3-flowered maple, have trifoliate leaves. Okay, so about probably three color leaves. Okay. One species, box elder, has innately compound leaves that may be simply trifoliate or may have 5, 7, or rarely 9 leaflets. So it's talking about this particular species, the box elder, having a different kind of structure. A few, such as the Nepal maple and hornbeam maple, have pinnately veined simple leaves. Lots about leaves in there. Okay, very interesting. Which questions are B? Let's have a look. One key part that differentiates the trees. Was that one in B? Yes, right. Over here, it's talking about the leaves, which are a key part of the tree, and we can tell the difference, differentiate and distinguish match. So I would say that number 1 is B. That key part, the leaf arrangement, distinguishes or differentiates the trees. Okay? Unique structure which enables distant travel. No, not about making travel possible. No. Time of the year when maples bloom. No, right? I didn't see that about maples blooming either. Okay. Regions where maple trees are prevalent. It talked about different trees there, but not where they are prevalent, or definitely not regions. I still think here's regions, Southern Asia, Mediterranean regions, okay? And the most peculiar type of maple tree. I would say maybe, unless we find it somewhere else. I think this here, one species, talking about one only, this box elder. So peculiar type, and it says it has this innate compound. Trifoliate leaves have 5, 7, rarely 9 leaflets. Very interesting. So I'm going to say B for number 5. Period at which the maple tree is able to spread its species. No, right? Not about spreading its species. It's not about spreading something. 7, the average lifespan of a maple tree. Not about lifespan. 8, distinguishing maple trees according to gender. No, but I will say something that lower levels will try to word match distinguishing and distinguish, and they might select that. We have to keep that in mind, everyone. Just because the words are the same doesn't mean that it's going to be there. It's not word matching, it's idea matching. And that's an important part that we need to remember, okay? 9, we already got, so there we go. We got 2. We got 2 already. Okay? All right, so let's go to paragraph C. The flowers are regular, pentamerous, and borne in racemes, corymbines, or umbels. Now, I myself am not sure if I'm pronouncing some of these words correctly. I gotta be honest here. Sometimes the vocabulary here, it's very particular or topic based. And some of these words, like racemes or corms, I've never really heard. But I think that they're related to trees, okay? So we have to keep that in mind as well, that this shouldn't confuse us. Even though I may not know exactly the meaning of those words, like their biological nature, I do know what it's trying to say here. And that's what we need to focus on. They have 4 or 5 sepals, 4 or 5 petals, about 1 to 6 millimeters long, absent in some species. 4 to 10 stamens, about 6 to 10 millimeters long, and 2 pistils or a pistil with 2 styles. So it's talking here about the flowers, flower types, flower parts. The ovary is superior, greater, and has 2 carpels whose wings elongate the flowers, making it easy to tell which flowers are female. Talking about some flowers being female. Maples flower in late winter or early spring. Winter in most species with or just after the appearance of the leaves, but in some before the trees leaf out. So when it's saying here when they bloom, remember that question. Maple flowers are green, yellow, orange, or red. Though individually small, the effect of an entire tree in flower can be striking in several species. Striking, very strong appearance. Some maples are an early spring source of pollen and nectar for bees. Okay, right, because they have leaves, right? Flowers, sorry. Okay, very interesting. So we got paragraph C there. Unique structure which enables distant travel. Is that one in C? No, I didn't see there about enables distant travel. Time of year when maples bloom. Is that one in C? Yes, right? We did read that one here again. It says maples flower or bloom in late winter, early spring. Okay. Period at which maple tree is able to spread its species. Talking about flowers. Is that one in C? No, I still am not seeing here about able to spread its species. The average lifespan of a maple tree. Didn't see that one either. Distinguishing maple trees according to gender. Yes, right. I did see that one. I did remember gender, male, female, and we saw here it says the ovary is superior. It has two carpels whose wings elongate the flowers, making it easy to tell which flowers are female. So some flowers are male, some flowers are female. And it says we can tell which ones are female according to this structure, how they are made up. Okay, so that one was C. And number 9 we have there. Okay, so let's look at D. Okay, the distinctive fruit are called samaras, maple keys, helicopters, whirlybirds, or pollinoses. Right. These seeds occur in distinctive pairs, each containing one seed enclosed in a nutlet attached to a flattened wing of fibrous papery tissue. So it's talking about the fruit or some kind of seed containing one seed. Okay. So the seedlings. Okay. All right. They are shaped to spin as they fall and to carry the seeds a considerable distance on the wind. So, right. So it says here that the seeds fall, but they are made in a way to travel considerable distance. Children often call them helicopters due to the way that they spin as they fall. That's true. Of course, lots of maple trees here in Canada. And I do remember playing in maple trees when I was a kid. That's true. And they spin like helicopters. Yes. During World War II, the US Army developed a special airdrop supply carrier that could carry up to 65 pounds of supplies and was based on the maple seed. Wow. Says that I guess the US Army developed a kind of airdrop based on the maple seed, the way that it was spinning. Very interesting. Seed maturation is usually in a few weeks to 6 months after flowering, with seed dispersal shortly after maturity. So, seed dispersal, when it happens, okay, when does the seed start to spread, disperse? However, one tree can release hundreds of thousands of seeds at a time. Depending on the species, the seeds can be small and green to orange and big with thicker seed pods. Very interesting. Very interesting. I never thought about maple trees like I'm thinking about it right now. But I do remember playing with them. Okay. So then, let's now decide whether it's D or E. Unique structure which enables distant travel. Distant travel. So, is that one D or E? D, right? Something about the structure, the helicopter shape. It said that over here. It says here they are shaped to spin as they fall and to carry the seeds considerable distance on the wind. Okay, you see, we got it. We got it. All right. And A, B, period at which the maple tree is able to spread its species. Period at which the maple tree is able to spread its species. So is it D or E? D, right? It said there at some point it's able to disperse, sorry. Right over here with seed dispersal shortly after maturation. So in a few weeks to 6 months after flowering, that's when seed maturation. It's talking about the period when it's able to spread or disperse, to spread its species or the seeds. Very good. The average lifespan of a maple tree? Okay. D or E? E. I didn't read anything about lifespan, means how long do they live for? So looks like we got everything. The only one that, well, I'm pretty sure we didn't read anything else about regions, and it did talk about regions again over here. So I'm pretty sure that one is A. Okay, everyone? So then, well, looks like we got everything here. Very good. Now, everyone, it's very important again to review the answers. I would review the answers and I would try to check exactly to make sure that I understand. Everyone, it's very important to understand why each question is in that paragraph, okay? And also, it's very good to review the reading. I would definitely review the questions and the vocabulary here as well, okay? Very good. And also, everyone, don't forget that we do have version 2, which is the same reading, the same one, except different questions. You see, all the questions are a little bit different, a little bit more difficult. Version 2s are usually a little bit more difficult. So that will be great practice for you there, everyone. You can find it either in the question that we just finished, in the part that we just finished, or you can also find it here, test practice 2. You see? There we go. It would be really great practice and it's timed. So very good for you to review the reading that we just completed. Okay. Also, I would say don't forget to review the vocabulary comprehension building parts. Those would be great practice for you, everyone. And of course, we should not forget about CELPIP Library. Now, CELPIP Library, here we are in part 3 of the CELPIP Library. Now, it contains over 60 samples, everyone, of reading part 3 for higher levels. I strongly recommend it. Lots and lots of practice. That's over 60 exams, even 70, I believe. There are more coming, all different kinds of topics. Okay, everyone. And so, with discount code CELPIP79, again, that's discount code CELPIP79, you can get a 3-month subscription for $10.99. Wow, great deal. And 3 months, you have plenty of time to complete 70 exams. You do one per day, 30, 60, that's 90 days. That's more than enough time. Plus, don't forget with version 2s, you have about 100 exams. Excellent practice, everyone. I strongly recommend it. And don't forget, practice makes perfect.